the end.
It's 6:30, so we will commence the November 20th, 2023 City of Lake Elmo Parks Commission. The first order of business is to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Second order of business is to approve tonight's agenda. Does anybody have a motion to approve?
I move to accept the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We have a approved agenda, and the next order of business would be the approval of the minutes from October 16th, 2023. So anybody have any adjustments or amendments or clarifications? All right. If not, we'd take a motion to approve October 16th, 2023's minutes.
I'll move to accept the October 16th, 2023 minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Number 5 on the agenda is public comment. I see we do have a couple people here. Are you here for public comment this evening? Either of you?
I'm here to speak on the development.
Gotcha. Okay, just checking. Well, with that, we will close number 5. Number 6 is to accept a resignation. I think we have city staff that's going to do a short presentation, or?
Pretty short.
Yeah, I would hope so. We have a timeline and
Yeah.
everything.
Yes, as we know, Juan last month during the meeting did address the Parks Commission, indicated that he would be moving out of the city, so he would be stepping down from the commission. So we're looking for the Parks Commission to make a recommendation for granting his resignation and moving forward with that.
Okay. So do we need to formally make a motion to accept a resignation then?
Correct.
For his seat as well as for his vice?
So we'll do, the vice chair will be next. Yep.
Okay,
So we'll do.
gotcha.
Approve the
So-
resignation,
Gotcha.
and then we'll take nominations for his
Gotcha.
position.
All right. Well, any questions, or somebody want to make a motion on the resignation?
I make the motion to accept Juan Rivera's resignation from the Parks Commission.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
In the beginning of each year, in January, we do elect a new vice and current chair for the Parks Commission. Juan did sit as a vice chair for the Parks Commission. At this time, we're asking the members of the Parks Commission to select a new vice chair for the rest of his appointment. That'd go until next month, and then we'll turn around in January again and redo the process. So looking for somebody to step in case Peter isn't available for next month's meeting, or if questions need to be asked for that vice chair position.
So essentially, the vice chair just acts as like an acting chairman if they're gone, right? That's
Yep.
basically. Is there anything else to it? I mean, I'm not going for the job. I'm just wondering, is there anything else to the job other than acting chair? Okay, just wondering.
Any other questions, or somebody want to nominate themselves or someone else for a month term?
I'll move to nominate Pat Barrett as vice chair for the next month or two.
I second that.
Have some discussion on that?
you going to be here next month, Peter?
Planning to be. Planning to be.
In that case, I'll accept.
Okay. Well, let's take a formal vote on that. The motion is to accept Commissioner Barrett as Vice Chair for the Parks Commission. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And number 8, we're just cruising along here, is the Ibhart Property Sketch Plan for the Rachel Development.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant for tonight's application is Rachel Development. The current owners are the Eberhard family. The property is currently zoned rural residential, and it is guided for rural single-family in the comp plan. The property is a little over 78 acres. The developer is proposing 65 units. This is a correction from the staff report. It is 64 new units, and then the 65th unit would be the existing farmstead. So a total of 65 units. And the developer is proposing an open space PUD. To satisfy parkland dedication, the city has 3 options. That would be a cash payment. In this case, it would be a little over $119,000. 5% of land, which is 3.9 acres in this instance, or a combination of both. And then the city also has the option of trail credit if a trail meets city standards not to exceed 25% parkland dedication. So the developer is proposing an outlot E, at 3.9 acres as the proposed park if the city would like to pursue the public park option. If the city does not pursue that option, the lot would still remain open space with trails through it for the residents of the development. Here's another rendering of the sketch plan. This is over an aerial image. As you can see, the property is currently a farm field, and it has power lines running through the middle of it. Reviewing this parcel in relationship to the city's 2040 comprehensive plan, this parcel is not within a trail search corridor, and it is not within a park search corridor. And then I have 4 findings for you. The first one is that this site is not within a trail or a park search area in the 2040 comprehensive plan. The second finding is that the site is not within the trail search corridor in the 2040 comprehensive plan. The site is within 1 mile or walking distance of the Lake Elmo Park Reserve and 2 neighborhood parks. And the fourth finding is the developer is already proposing a significant amount of land for open space and trails as part of the development requirements for the open space PUD. So with those findings, staff is recommending, the Parks Commission recommend acceptance of cash in lieu of land based on the findings listed in the staff report. And with that, I can stand for questions, and we do have the developer here tonight.
Thank you. Other questions for the city planner?
Sophia, I see it backs up against, is it Torrey Pines on the north?
The north would be Heights, the south
the
would be
Heights.
Torrey Pines.
Okay, and there will be a road, I see a street that will go through, so that kids, if that park were ever to be developed, they would be able to get there without going on to County Road 13.
Correct.
Okay.
I have a real quick question. I'm just trying to learn how everything works still. I agree with the proposal, but I'm curious. So it was 5% land. What was the deal? Well, it was either what or what?
Correct. So the fee in this instance would be roughly $119,000. That would be, the final number would be determined when the DA comes forward.
Where does that come from? Where does that number come from?
The appraised land value of 3.9 acres.
Oh, I suppose. But why? Is that like a city law or a county? Where does that come from that says that every time they develop, they need to either give us money or land?
City code,
City code?
correct.
Okay. Just wondering.
Well, it comes with platting. So with the platting of land, park dedication needs to be satisfied.
Okay, just wondering.
I have a question, Sophia. Am I reading the maps correct in that the proposed outlot F would be public access, including with trails?
I would have to defer to the developer on what would be public and private at the end of the day.
Okay,
I had the same question, actually. I think all of those outlots, I believe, are marked public, and would like clarification at the appropriate time of whether that's public or whether that's actually HOA or some other structure. And I guess sort of the second part of that is if there was a park and the proposed trails were going through that, would that be considered a public trail for a portion of it? Would it be only a public trail where the parkland is, or how would that work if there was public?
These are mowed trails, so they would not meet trail standards to receive park dedication credit.
Okay. But would they be public if they went through the parkland, if we chose to develop a park there?
No.
Okay. Are there further questions for either our city planner or for the developer on this?
I have another question. Is most of that lot currently farmland? So it's open?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Well, if we don't have any other questions or clarifications, we could take a motion based on the city staff's recommendation or another motion. And we can have discussion based on that motion once it's made.
Mr. Chair, if you would like, we can have the developer answer the question on the outlots, public, private.
Okay. That'd be great.
Good evening, Commissioners. Paul Robinson. I'm the Development Director for Rachel Development. I think we're seeking a little bit of clarification too along the way on this. So the OP code asks for some of those outlots to be public and put into a conservation easement as a part of the open space preservation. So whether or not those trails become public through there is sort of an open question, which I actually have in my narrative asking the council if that's something they would want to be public or private. We're fine either way. So I think it's a little bit yet to be known. I think tonight's question is more about whether or not there's a formal city park in that property.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you for the clarification. Add some context.
I can ask more questions, answer more.
Okay. Well, I would make a motion to take the city's recommendation for cash in lieu of land. So move to recommend acceptance of cash in lieu of land based on the findings of city staff report. If someone is interested in seconding that.
I'll second that, yeah.
Okay. And we're open for discussion on that.
Yeah, I'm in favor of that. I guess when I look at the plans, or the proposal, right, the proposed outlot E for a public park seems to have a lot of similar challenges of other parks that we've talked about, and, you know, especially thinking about what types of amenities might be able to go here. Flat farm field, a lot of opportunity there, but challenges with parking and access through this neighborhood if any kinds of big traffic were to be directed there. But, you know, in this proposal, which is a proposal I recognize, but the fact that the east side of this development abuts Lake Elmo Park Reserve, I feel like that could create some nice connectivity throughout the whole region for this neighborhood to access the park and vice versa. So, yeah, I think that proposal in motion is wise with what I see here.
Yeah, I guess especially in the context of having the Lake Como Park Reserve right across, I mean, literally across the street, that's, I guess, quick commentary on it. I know that 5% is for rural residential and rural estate, and it does seem odd that it goes down to 5%. I don't know what the logic is based on for that, whether it's density of people. But when you're getting to 5% on let's say about 80 acres, and 5%, you're ending up with less than 4 acres. That's really it's not a big space. So when this comes to us and say, well, even if if that park wasn't across the street there, to have a small park like that on an 80-acre lot, to me, wouldn't suit very well. And that's why I ask for that larger context of, well, are these trails going to be public and accessible? Because if they are, then it would make sense. If they're not, it doesn't make quite as much sense. So that was the reason for that. That said, I think, in this case, it's maybe don't have to dwell on it too much because we're making a motion to accept cash.
Yeah, that's a pretty small parcel we put in. If you put a small parking lot in and now you start without Lottie, that would be a very, very small park. Wouldn't have much involvement. I mean, you're basically putting a parking lot in to catch the trail, for the most part, is what you're getting at. So, yeah, I can understand the city recommendation for cash versus land or a combination.
Further discussion on that, or should I call the question? So again, the motion is to accept cash in lieu of land based on the city's staff's recommendations. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. And so then we are on to item 9, which is the January 9th, 2023 City Council Workshop.
As staff remember, last year in January 23, we attended the city council workshop. First time in probably a number of years. I don't think any of the council members, the commissioners in the past had had the opportunity to do that. It was beneficial for the commissioners to attend that, just to kind of get a better scope, just several new staff as well as commissioners to attend that meeting. So we're looking for a date in January again, which is scheduled for January 9th, and wondering if the Parks Commission would like to attend that meeting again. We would need to have a quorum, or at least 4 individuals that could attend that meeting in order to make that happen if we do choose to go forward with that. Again, the discussion at that Parks Commission, that council workshop is mainly based off the 2024 work plan. So next month in December, we'll review the work plan. We'll bring that to that council workshop to discuss those items and see that we're in line with 2024. If there's anything to add or we make some adjustments to that work plan for during those 2 meetings, we'll make that final presentation to the city council at probably their February city council meeting.
Thank you. So you're seeking, again, a formal motion that we would, as a commission, like to attend the January 9th meeting?
That's correct.
Okay.
What, so January 9th works for me, but what time would it be? Probably 6 to 8?
So the city council meetings and commission meetings, our commission meeting starts at 6:30. City council meetings always start at 6.
That's what I thought.
So it'd be like normally about 6 to 8.
Workshops start at 6:30.
They're at 6:30.
Okay.
I'd like to motion that we attend the January 9th, 2024 City Council Workshop as a Parks Commission.
I second that.
Any discussion about that?
I probably will be unable to attend that workshop, but do we have sufficient representation otherwise? Seems like.
Well, if the four of us are able to attend, I don't know about Hank, obviously he's not here.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna get one, so, but I think if,
It works in my calendar.
yeah, it works in mine,
Okay.
so.
And we may have a new council, commission member by then
Hopefully, yeah,
also.
that'd be nice. I mean, that'd be pretty quick, but hopefully, yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll call the question that, commission, the motion is to, attend the city workshop, regarding, thank you. Parks Commission is, making a motion to attend the January 9th, 2023 City Council Workshop. All those in favor? Aye. That was hard, thank you. Number 10 on our agenda is communications.
With that workshop, I'll likely just take quick attendance, probably like a week or two before, just to confirm with city council that we will be present to be able to do that. So if things do come up, I'll still make sure we have a quorum enough to host that, so.
Okay.
Just some follow-up stuff. The Parks Master Plan is in full force right now. We did have our first meeting as part of the advisory committee. They met last week. So we'll revisit again in January with that committee. The Parks survey is currently out to residents right now. It is on our website as well as the Parks website. So this is the homepage for the city site as well. So it's scroll down, it's in our normal listings. So these things change every day. So sometimes I'll get put towards the top. But if we do go into the parks content, it is also listed on the website of the Parks Division there as well. So
Adam, would that also be in the weekly newsletter that's mailed out on Fridays?
it is. It's in the Fresh and on our city website as well. So, oops, I wouldn't. So under our Parks Division, and then it's right on the first deal, we got our Parks Master Plan. If you click on that, we go right into our QR code as well as our survey for our online survey. So with that, we will be hosting a couple pop-up events. Our first one is the Light Up Lake Elmo event, which is December 2nd, Saturday. Bolton and Mink, who is our subcontractor for this project, they'll be present as well to present our Parks Master Plan. And it's not presenting it, it's actually gathering ideas from the community and also getting the survey out to the community residents as well. So it's all part of that whole project to get a structured plan together to use for the next 10 years. So. We'll be kicking off another project too, naming our dog park. As you remember, a couple months ago, we moved forward with presenting a recommendation to City Council for the dog park next to our old fire hall. So our next process for 2024, as we utilize those funds that we deemed from the Parks Dedication Fund, is naming that park. So with that part, we get that name, we'll put it on the sign, et cetera. So for about the next 6 weeks, we'll have we'll be generating some ideas for naming that park. So keep that in mind as well. So if you have suggestions, look forward to just submitting them to me or submitting them to city staff. Our buckthorn removal, we're currently in phase 2 of that. We had a presentation on that last month. They are currently applying for a phase 3 already, and that's gonna be including going back and doing some pre-treatments on the first phase, as well as continued treatments on the second and a new continued third phase. So as we know, with the previous discussions on that, it's kind of a continued process, and it's kind of a 5-year plan from initially cutting down the substance, and to continue with that. So we'll likely see that for several more years to come. So be appraised of probably some more presentations on what our commitments to that buckthorn removal is in sunfish over the next year again. Like I indicated before, our next meeting in December, we'll be talking about that work plan. Again, a lot of our agenda items come based off that work plan in correlation with our CIP that we did in June. So as I present that, make sure if you have ideas or generating things that we need to discuss as a Parks Commission to be able to present those. Like, remember again that our CIP items are those items that are $25,000 or more, and then we've already designated those in our CIP for those. So any items that are underneath that they're not gonna come from that Parks Dedication Fund. They're gonna have to come from Public Works, our budget. So again, that budget isn't very large, and a lot of that's just, maintenance items and paying for city staff and our vehicles and things like that. So keep that in mind when we do put items on that park master plan, that park plan for 2024. Those items would be a discussion unless it's items that we can fund internally. So, okay. So that's why it's important when we do those CIP items that we list those in there accordingly of what we want to present in that next following year. We discussed 2 months ago already when we'll be removing those pickleball nets and volleyball nets. We've had some warm weather last week, but that's come to an end, I think. So those will be removed here in probably likely before Thanksgiving here this week as well. So and that's all I have.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Oh, yeah, can I just offer more of a comment, not a question? I would wonder if the city would consider amending the name of the Parks Master Plan to the Parks Comprehensive Plan, just to use a bit more inclusive language, which the planning field is moving towards.
Okay.
Thanks for noting that.
I had a question regarding the naming of the park. What type of city parks in general, like when you establish a new park, do all the parks get named after someone, or is it just some? How do
Yeah,
you-
so actually in 2019, we had a number of parks that were unnamed within the city. And so in late 2019, early 2020, we brought a number of parks like Pilot Park, Hamas Park, Goose Lake. There was a number of them that weren't named. So we brought those in front of the Parks Commission and just kind of started going through them one by one of beginning to name those.
How many of the parks in Lake Elmo aren't named? Or, I mean, I'm sure they all are, but,
They're all currently named right now.
and they're named after people, all of them, or no?
Not necessarily. Sometimes they're themed. So like Pilot Park was initially named was just generated from a roster of submitted items. So a lot of times it's just theme-based.
And what would so let's say last name is, this is an example, but Viddle, like Viddle Park. Is it Viddle Park or is it Viddle Dog Park or what is it?
Is that a suggestion?
No, that's just an example.
Yeah.
Or X Park.
No, so right now we don't have like let's go based off this theme and submit items. We're just open-ended right now, so,
All right, I'm just wondering.
yep.
Is that dog park, is it complete?
No, so that's a 2024 CIP item. So this year, staff went through, mowed the trails. We
Yeah.
prepped an area up at the beginning, made our parking lot, things like that. Just some things that we could do internally without any expenses. Next year, we'll do the bids for the small dog park fence as well as like a watering station for the dogs, which would include, additional monies would go towards some benches, some signage, additional garbage cans, things like that for that park. So additional lighting, things like that.
A couple comments. I know pickleball courts were in big use this past weekend, and I know Ivywood was because a number of people I know who wanted to go there couldn't because it was so busy, so that was great. I appreciate you keeping the nets up. And secondly, I'm wondering, I was looking at different cities to see what their views are or laws are concerning invasive species. And I wonder if Lake Elmo, the city compares itself to other similar geographic area or population-wise cities when you do comparisons at all?
In regards
And
to,
in regards to anything across the city, do you have, like, when I worked for different school districts, there were always like 10 school districts that they would compare themselves to. Some were close by, some were the same, similar size and so forth. Does the city do something like that when you make comparisons over services or whatever you're looking at?
yeah, so a lot of times when we make recommendations, a lot of times we'll look at comparison cities, like for our dog park. A lot of my data that I presented was from local communities. It was Woodbury, Oakdale, Maplewood, Stillwater. So we do look at those communities, see what they have, what's being offered, maybe some rules, some policies that they had that are beneficial, that we might benefit from, having on our side, and also communication with them to say, you know, what works, what doesn't work. Have you had to change policy because of other issues, items like that?
So generally, you would do something local, nearby physically, not
Correct. Yep.
comparable size?
Yeah, if it's
Okay.
something that's similar, like in scope, if it's a dog park or the pickleball courts and things like that, a lot of that's, you know, pretty well-rounded with local communities. If it's something out of the ordinary that we wouldn't have, yeah, then we could definitely venture out to other organizations, even subcontractors like Bolton and Mink are always willing to help out or give information for things
Okay.
like that. So.
All right, and then just a question throughout, so at the December meeting, would that be a time to bring up things like, you know, how the city gave away trees last spring? Would that be a time to talk about doing something as a park commission, sponsoring something like Trees in the Park that neighborhoods could sponsor, or, you know, just something so that neighborhoods may have a hand in what their park has? You know, maybe having free trees given away that the public can help plant, and then maybe sponsor, say, this family's gonna water these trees, just to enhance our parks over the years and have buy-in from the community.
Yeah, that's an item that can be, you know, given the heads up, can be brought up. We'd probably limit or budget it at a certain amount, right? So the trees that we do give away, like for Arbor Day, things like that, can be generally purchased in bulk. And so it can be can meet expectations of a budgeted item for something like that. So can it be done? Yes.
In what
And yes, that would be
time
something
we
you could
talk
bring
about
up. Since it is not a CIP item, that'd be something that could be brought up in that time.
it?
Yep.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Can I ask one more clarifying question, Adam? For the work plan discussion, do you prefer if we contact you over the next month to raise some of these things, or should we be having that conversation here?
No, you can definitely send those to me via email,
Okay.
and I can give you
See what
direct
fits.
feedback or communicate with you on that.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
Any other communications? Oh, yep.
My only update is the city now has a YouTube channel, so meeting replays will be on YouTube.
Does the city have an Instagram account yet?
I don't believe so.
Okay, we need to have somebody get on that. I would recommend a motion, but I think you guys will, it'll eventually happen, I'm sure, so I won't. Just wondering.
All right, excuse me. We're at the last item, which is adjournment. Want to make a motion to adjourn? I will make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Is a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous. That's